Chapter 41, Chapter 41, Who will be the champion? Chapter 41, Who will be the champion? Hello friends, it's me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in my private box, waiting for my turn, and I'll give you a summary of what has happened until now. The quarterfinals. 1. Tatiana Aliana Romanova vs Persephone Raptis. Winner, Persephone Raptis. This was a very close battle, where for a moment I thought Tatiana would win, and yet Persephone, at an unexpected and unforeseen moment, which no one imagined, he cast a powerful magic and left Tatiana stunned. Without giving it a chance, I finish it off with Desmaias and won the duel. 2. Jack Dukenhammer vs Maximilian Stephen Dovakian. Winner, Maximilian Stephen Dovakian. Obviously I won in a magnificent way. I will not go into detail and will only say that the turtle man, he was tired from fighting Elaterum. Now, making that clear, I'll give you a final summary of the tournament. The duel for the 3rd and 4th place. Tatiana Aliana Romanova vs Jack Dukenhammer. Winner, Tatiana Aliana Romanova. Oh yes, Tatiana was very angry about her defeat at the hands of Persephone, and she unleashed all her fury on the poor turtle man Jack. I will not say more, it was very painful to see, but I will tell you that she didn't want to anger Tatiana in the future. The final for the championship. Persephone Raptis vs Maximilian Stephen Dovakian. If the final is about to begin, host Oman can be seen on the platform, ready to announce the last duel of the night and to declare who will be the champion of the Master Level World Duel Championship. Wizards and witches of the magic world, I'm glad to announce the last duel of the night. Who will be our champion? Says Oman, very excited. He even used the spell to amplify his voice. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. Applause sound was heard from the audience. It will be our beautiful Persephone. Or he will be our invincible champion. Says Oman, very excited. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. Applause sound. Now to participate in this duel, let's give welcome the Red Witch, Persephone Raptis. Says Oman excitedly. He was clearly excited and emotional in his announcement. From the entrance, you could see a beautiful woman, who walked proudly and watched the audience with a smile. She was dressed in her famous dress, which consists of a beautiful traditional red kavai. Red Witch. Red Witch. Red Witch. It was heard in an euphoric ovation from the audience, and they were encouraged by their Greek champion. Upon reaching the platform, he observes Oman. He smiles in a slightly excited way and says in an orderly tone, Oman, announce my opponent. TSK, what a bitch, what is happening to the witches lately? Obviously I was going to announce it, thinks Amar, and says to continue her words, listen carefully. Why should I ask for your help? For invoke to our champion, the tyrant. 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 You could hear the excited audience, and it was clear that they were excited for me to go out to fight again. To the count of 3 we will the invoke, says Oman. 1. Tyrant. 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 You could hear the excited audience. 2. Tyrant. 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 3. Tyrant. 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 You could hear the excited audience, and they were immediately seeing the sky or the platform looking for me. Suddenly, You could hear the flutter of many things flying, and when something became visible in the sky, it was a flock of 90 golden dragons. Each of the golden dragons measured 1 meter, and as if they were gathered on the platform, they began to crowd into one part of the platform. Little by little a golden light enveloped that part of the platform, where little by little it began to shrink and leaving the silhouette of a man, who said something out loud, breaking the silence and suspense of the place. "It's my turn. Tyrant. Tyrant. Tyrant." You could hear the excited audience. While on the platform I observe the euphoric audience and immediately raise my fist in the air and order my patronum to roar loudly. "GG. Welcome champion," says a man. "Tyrant. Tyrant. Tyrant." You could hear the excited audience. With a smile I look at my opponent. Although the mature woman in front of me was between 38 and 40 years old, was very beautiful and well preserved, it was obvious that she took great care of her body. "Are you ready, Miss Raptis?" I ask him with a smile on my face. "I was born prepared for everything, but you are the champion, and are you ready? Why did you spend so much magic on that shocking and spectacular entrance?" Persephone says with a confident smile. "Don't worry, this champion has unlimited stamina," I say with a hint and a wink. Oh yeah, he was flirting with Persephone. /n, bastard, you can't control your hormones. That's the good thing to be young, they always have a lot of stamina and virility, says Persephone, licking his lips in a sexual way and with double meaning in his words. "My virility and resistance can last for days without stopping, beautiful Miss Raptis," I tell her in a flirtatious way, and I roll my eye. "Oh, you will make me blush, champion," says Persephone in a very flirtatious tone. "That's the idea, beautiful lady," I say with a smile and a wink. "Oh, Mr. Champion. If you keep flirting with me, I can devour you slowly and with pleasure," says Persephone, licking her lips in a very sexy way. Host Oman was in a corner of the platform, copying all my flirting lines, and it was obvious that he would use them in the future, to flirt with some single witch. /n, Arman save me a copy, cough. "I'm just a man of muscle, flesh and blood, you can do whatever you want with my body, beautiful lady," I tell him with a flirtatious smile and a wink. Aberforth, who was watching this dramatic flirting scene from the corner, and says Arman announces the duel. Our host Arman was so intent on writing in his notebook that when he noticed Aberforth's words and replied in a dazed way, "Oh yeah. I already announce it, ha ha. Now to witness this final fight. Our dear referee, Aberforth Dumbledore," says Arman excitedly. Aberforth walks up to the middle platform between us and says, "I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding or your opponent admitting defeat, and you cannot kill the opponent, understood?" Persephone and I answer yes/yes. We both present our wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. I measured a half turn and walked the 10 steps, then I turned around and looked into the pretty eyes of my opponent, but I winked at her, and while she was looking at me with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel starts, says Oman. Ting, ting. With a smile I cast the spell. From the tip of my wand a powerful blast of wind spirals out towards Persephone, and she takes several stones with telekinesis, throwing it in various directions, but simultaneously applies the spell. I was able to count a total of 11 rocks 4 meters wide and tall, directed at me from various different angles, and 5 of them were descending from the sky, 2 were coming from the front. 2 came from my left and 2 came from my right. I could see that one of the rocks hits with my spell, destroying itself and turning to dust. I also notice that Raptis uses the spell, where she appears at a safe distance behind me and preventing me from escaping or waiting for me with her wand to finish me off. With a smile on my face, I point my wand into the air, casting the spell, and from the tip of my wand, thousands of jets of red and gold sparks shoot out at different angles, without leaving any blind angle. Catapum. Zaras. Pum. Zas. Bam. Rumble and explosion sound. The sound of impact with the rocks could be heard, and even in the barrier of stuns the public, it was not spared from the powerful impacts. It got to such a point, that a large amount of dust could be observed on the platform, and it was a dense dust mist. Right at that moment, a voice could be heard that broke the momentary silence after the explosions and said, "Oh yeah." While Persephone was distracted by seeing my spell, I teleported behind her and cast the Dismayus spell on her. She tried to defend herself, but I was very close to her and my spell reached her at high speed, impacting with her body. Out of delicacy or consideration for being a woman, I cast the spell and a light immediately shot out at high speed towards the ground, softening it. With little concentration and some modification of the spell, I cast a small whirlwind to dispel the dust. Soon the platform became perfectly visible, where you could see the platform to Persephone on the ground and me standing, arms crossed. Oh yes, I win this world championship again. Aberforth walks over to observe Persephone unconscious and declares the winner of this duel is Maximilian Stephen Dovakian. Oh, for Merlin, the tyrant. He did it again. 1. Tyrant. 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 You could hear the excited audience. Our champion. Undefeated. Invincible. Maximilian Stephen Dovakian. The tyrant. Arma says with great enthusiasm. With a smile I raise the fists of both arms in the air and order my patronum to roar with great force and tyranny. Tyrant. 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 You could hear the excited audience. With a smile I apply magic to my patronum. It comes out from the ground where I am standing, flying towards the sky and roaring with a great roar. While an audience watched his legend, he invited to leave, as if he were a mythical and invincible being. The next chapter will continue. /n. I hope you enjoyed the chapter. Comment. 7 comments. Vote. Chapter 42, Chapter 42, A Pitiful Man. Chapter 42, A Pitiful Man. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in the leaky cauldron. Unfortunately my vacation in France is over. I will give you a short summary of what has happened. First, I got distant relatives. Yes, they are the Flamels, and Grandma Perinel is very happy, and even she moved to live with me in Ridvia Castle. Also, she is very happy about the idea that I have several wives, and it is because she will have more grandchildren for the near future. The positive part this is, that I got a free babysitter. He. Second, the final winnings of the World Championship were immense, and to such a degree that you could see the goblins smiling on every corner. Third, I won the championship for the 4th year in a row, and I am further away from my goal of being a dueling legend. Fourth, I got married to my 5th wife Tatiana, and with a sigh of resin, I can only say that I had no alternative. Currently I am at my limit. A positive part is that I am getting used to it and gaining a monstrous resistance. Fifth, The world has entered a phase of prosperity, except Great Britain, and why old Albus is doing his part to keep the country late. 6th, the war between light and darkness has been in small skirmishes here and there, but I do not know how to record the conflict. Now I am here in the leaky cauldron, for two things. First, observe how my investment goes with the leaky cauldron, and second, give me a little getaway from my wives and have a few drinks, hopefully getting drunk. Ha ha ha. Upon arriving at the site, I noticed that it was booming, and indeed this business was enjoying good prosperity. I sat at the bar in silence and ordered a high-quality, high-liquor butterbeer. While enjoying my beer, I look next to me and realizing that there is a man with a hat sighing. It seemed like he had a terrible day. The man in the hat was counting his nuts to order a beer, and sadly he couldn't buy a beer. It hurt me so much to see him so miserable that I wanted to do my good deed for the day and asked for another beer, which I offered the man with the hat. Friend, it seems that you had a terrible day and have this beer. Let's do a toast to a better day, I say. The man looks at me astonished and says, "Thank you, champion, and I will gladly accept your offer." I observed the man carefully, realizing that he was my age, and I couldn't help my curiosity of question, since he was a young man. What kind of a terrible day this man could have had, to look like it was the end of his life, and so much that it hurts a little to watch it like this. So I asked him, "Why do you look like you are at the end of your life?" I tell him. The man sighs and says, "I don't want to talk about that, champion." Note that I am called champion twice. That means that this man is a fan of duels, and with a bright smile, I ask him, insisting, "Come on, man, tell me what happens to you. Maybe this champion can give you good advice and help you with the difficulty you are in," I say with a smile. The man looks at me for a moment and with a sigh says, "Okay, I'll tell you what happened to me, but it will be a very long story and I don't think I will have enough beer." "Don't worry, my friend, I invite all the beers you want and to drink as much beer as you want," I tell him with a smile. /n, don't forget my beer. The man takes all the beer in one sip and asks for another. With a sigh he says, "When I'm in a better financial position, I'll buy you a couple of rounds beer and I won't take no for an answer. Just tell me what time and place, I'll be there," I say with a smile and raise my glass for a toast, saying cheers and to the bottom of the glass. The man follows me in the toast and says cheers and to the bottom of the glass. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Taking all the beer in one go. "The beer is good," I say, "taste my lips." The man laughs and says, "Ha ha ha, certainly, champion, and let's go with another round." "Okay, hello," and it's the bottom of the glass, I say with a smile. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. "This beer is very good, my friend," I say, savor my lips. /n, yo, I'm still waiting for my beer. Neutral smiley. The man in good spirits says, "Let's go with another round." Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. /n, neutral smiley, me, I'm still waiting for my beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 glup, arachs. Drinking all the beer. Slurp, glug, 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 ahs. Drinking all the beer. After a couple of rounds of beers, the man finally started to tell me his story and tells. /n, and my beer. Neutral smiley. Champion. Hick. After leaving studying. Hick. From Hogwarts. Hick. I thought I would find a job. Hick. But it wasn't like that. Hick. Champion, I've tried everything. Hick. But I was not lucky. Hick. My wife is pregnant. Hick. My parents died last year. Hick. For dragon pox. Hick. But they also left me with debts, says the man, a bit drunk. /n, a little bit, he's already drunk. You seem to have a lot of difficulties, I tell him. I was also starting to feel dizzy. My wife. Hick. She's not happy. Hick. With my financial situation. Hick. If she isn't pregnant. Hick. I think it would have dissolved. Hick. The marriage contract, says the man with great regret, and he was even beginning to score a couple of tears from his eyes. Well, let's drink until the body can hold it, let us vent our sorrows and lamentation with beer. Little by little we drank more than 40 rounds of beers, and I was already half drunk or drunk. Ha ha ha. Where do you live, my friend? Hick. I ask him. Ha ha, hick. I forgot, hick. Says the man laughing. Give me your wizard ID. Hick. I tell him. The man checks his pockets one by one, found the identification card and gives it to me. I observe his home address on the card. I focus and use. Point of view of a pregnant and worried wife. In a modest house, a pregnant woman was found and paced from side to side with concern, since her husband had not yet returned. Remembering the harsh words he said to her in the morning, she regretted saying that to him and wanted her husband to come home soon, so she could apologize to him. Soon the sound of two drunks singing was heard. I am a powerful wizard, hick. I am a drinking magician, hick. I'm a magoo drinker. Nananana. Hick. Terrera irritaten hick. N/, these two guys are drunk, they are making a fool of themselves. The worst thing is that I wait for my beer, neutral smiley. Soon, I was able to identify the voice of one of the two drunken men, and if it was her husband, that he came home drunk. Her concern for her husband disappeared. Now she was very upset with her husband, and tonight her husband would sleep on the sofa in the living room. N/, usually happens. Leaning out the window, she can see her husband with a blonde man, and she couldn't make out the man well, because it was night. As you go down the stairs and reach the door, you can hear them talking. My friend, hick. He's sure you have the keys to your house, the blonde man says to my husband. Hick. Of course, champion. Hick. I kept it somewhere in my robe, hick. My husband tells the blonde man. My husband will listen to me. He told me that he was going to look for work and not to drink with his friends, but first I have to ask the blonde man to leave. I open the door and immediately notice the strong smell of butterbeer, but it smelled very strong, and I look at my husband, who was having a hard time standing. If it weren't for the blonde man, who carried him by the shoulder so that he did not fall to the ground, and I did not recognize the man, because my husband does not have any blonde friends. I watch my husband trying to get his key to the house, but he can't get it, and I'm sick of my husband's drunkenness. I say. Where were my husband? I ask him harshly. My wife. Hick. I couldn't get a job today, hick. My husband says, he was clearly drunk and couldn't even argue with her, since he was so drunk. I decided to save my anger for tomorrow. Please help me lay him down on the couch, sir, I say to the man, who even though he looked drunk I noticed that he was vigilant and a bit sober in his actions. Notice that the man was tall and although he was drunk, he kept his balance as he walked in his footsteps. As I put my husband on the couch, he gets up and starts walking towards me. I watch him pull out his wallet looking for something and pull out a business card. Upon arriving in front of me, the blonde man looked at me for a second and said, I hope you excuse the arrival time of my friend, and if you do not mind, I would like you to give him a message. What kind of message? I ask him cautiously, since the man in front of me reminds me of my father and he was a powerful man with a perfect noble etiquette. Tell him, I'll wait for him tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon for a job interview and not be late, hick. The man tells me with a smile, and for some reason that I couldn't explain he looked familiar. It was as if he had seen him somewhere. Okay, I'll tell him, I tell the blonde man. Take my business card. Hick. Says the blonde man. I took the yellow card, realized it was a little heavy and saw the man walk to the door, but I kept watching him with my eyes. When he walks to the entrance of the house he turns around and says, it was a pleasure to meet you, and have a good early morning. Sorry for the bad impression that caused you. At the end of his words, he teleported left the place in silence, and now I could detail that the yellow card was not yellow. It was pure gold. I looked at the name on the card and as if my mind was clearing, I remembered the name of the blonde man. Oh, for Merlin, Maximilian Dovahkian was at my house and drank beer with my husband. If my brothers find out about these they will be very jealous of Arthur, I said, surprised. I suddenly remember the words of man. Wait, my husband, he got a job with the world dueling champion and oh by Morgana and Merlin. My husband is being blessed with a good job, I say with incredulous emotion. Even all the anger I felt over my husband's drunkenness dissipated. It will continue in the next chapter. Comment. 29 comments. Vote. Chapter 43, Chapter 43, An Act of Generosity. Chapter 43, An Act of Generosity. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and currently, I am arriving drunk in my Ridvia castle. Little by little, I am going to my bedroom, and when I opened the door I saw my wife sleeping. In silence I went to the bathroom. Soon I bathed with cold water and went to bed to sleep. Tomorrow will be a new day. I have big plans for tomorrow. Pitiful man point of view. I had a strange dream. I dreamed that I was drinking with my idol, the world dueling champion, and we got drunk on butterbeer. Then I think he brought me home. I admired the champion very much. Why? Because, although he was my age and my generation of young wizards, he was a successful young man. I wanted to be like him when I got out of Hogwarts, but however reality hit me hard and I couldn't get any job. I was lucky to get a marriage contract, since my father established it for me. I didn't want to admit it, but life was hitting me with everything and I didn't want it to emerge or thrive, but I will never give up. Because currently, my wife is pregnant with my child and I want at least to have a stable job by the time my child is born. When I get up, I realize that I am on the couch sleeping and with a little headache. I go to the bathroom. Washing my face, I look at myself in the mirror and I had dark circles. I also had a good hangover. I decided to shower and wash off the beer smell. When I finish bathing, I get dressed and go to the kitchen to confront my wife, who will surely be very upset with me because of my drunkenness. Good morning, Molly. How do you feel today, my love? I ask her. I'll be honest, I was expecting him to yell at me and scold me for arriving drunk last night. However, she greeted me with a happy smile, and it was strange, because she has had many mood swings due to the pregnancy and our financial situation. Good morning, my husband, I feel good, and you, says Molly with a happy smile on her face. Feeling that my wife was acting strange today, I sat at the table to read the prophet and have a cup of coffee. I'm feeling a bit hungover, Molly, and I'm fine, I reply to Molly and put my eyes on the headline of the newspaper. The Dark Lord Voldemort was wounded by Albus Dumbledore, by Rita. Just when I was about to read it, my wife asked me something that left me puzzled. What are you doing? Molly asks me, but inside of me I was baffled, and that's why I thought she would yell at me. I'm reading the newspaper, I reply. Molly yells at me, Arthur Weasley. What are you doing? Puzzled, I preferred to play dumb and ask Molly, my love, what are you talking about? /N, a wise decision. Molly tells me, yelling the champ, he's waiting for you for the job interview and he can't be late. Now yes, I am completely puzzled and how I got to have a job interview with the champion. Something like a job interview with my idol, I would always remember it, and suddenly, I remembered that yesterday I met my idol. Another thing that I forgot is that he bought me a beer, and since he was my idol, I did not refuse to have a beer with him. Now after that, my memories are blurry and I think I ended up drinking until I got drunk. I remember the champion brought me home. Molly, I'm sure I don't have a job interview, and what are you talking about? Can you explain me? I ask him. She watches me for a moment and then looks for a gold card, if it was my idol's famous calling card. I had heard that he liked gold, and to such a degree, that he usually always made flashy golden magic. But I had not seen it with my eyes, since my financial situation was bad and I could not waste money. He left you this business card and said to go see him for a job interview at 2 in the afternoon, says Molly, excited. Without asking anything more, I went to where the business card said, and when I arrived, I noticed that it was the Gringotts. I walk towards the entrance. I say to the goblin, "Excuse me, sir, but I have a job interview with Mr. Maximilian and they told me to come here for the job interview at 2 in the afternoon." The goblin's reaction was strange, and because at first, he looked at me harshly. However, when he saw the gold card, his attitude changed and he looked at me with respect, and I even saw envy in his eyes. Strange, no one had envied me since I graduated from Hogwarts, and it was very strange, but I kept walking where he told me to go. I wait a moment and knock on the door. Knock knock. From the other of the door they say, "Pass." Point of view, Max. When I got out of bed, I realized that it was after 11 in the morning and my wives had already left. I take a bath. I went to the Gringotts, because I wanted to see my accounts and investments. Upon arriving at the Gringotts, he went straight to work with a coffee in hand and quickly took out my accounts and my calculations. Everything was perfect. Now I put my eyes on the newspaper The Prophet and read the headline of the newspaper. I laughed out loud. The Dark Lord Voldemort was wounded by Albus Dumbledore, by Rita. Dear readers, wizards and witches in our community, yesterday the battle between light and darkness took place. While most witches and wizards slept comfortably in their homes, a secret battle took place. This reporter Rita following a lead, which took me to the battle site, and when I arrived I realized that things are very bad for both sides. Why did Albus Dumbledore take this reporter Rita's advice to heart and train her sheep troops, so that they would not die in the fervor of battle? However, this reporter Rita noticed that despite the training the light side was losing, and at that moment Albus Dumbledore arrived, attacking Voldemort in a surprise attack. Who, after being attacked by surprise, ordered the withdrawal of his troops and little by little also withdrew from the battle. This reporter Rita had the pleasure of interviewing the Dark Lord Voldemort and asked him what he wanted to achieve with this. He responded briefly saying that he only wanted him to return his things that were stolen from him. Now this reporter Rita is puzzled and intrigued. What did Albus steal from Voldemort? Why so much mystery? These are questions that we don't know the answer to, but one day I'll find out, or stop calling me Rita. Ha ha ha, certainly Rita was improving on her playing, and now I realized that it was almost 2 in the afternoon. I thought about my next move, decided to get involved with Ron's dad, and just to think that the little prick called me uncle, I find it gratifying for some reason. Also, I realized that my approach was a bit wrong and why I have to get involved a bit, so that my enemies lower their guard. I am currently waiting for Arthur Weasley, if I am going to give Arthur a job, and it is because I always liked Arthur's attitude. Also, my real goal is to change the Weasleys' story a bit, and I know Molly is a smart woman, she wouldn't join the Albus cause without a reason. When I think about it, my ideas and plans turn in a more effective way with the Weasleys. Knock knock. Here it is, and I say come in. You can immediately observe Arthur entering the office. He seemed very nervous and very enthusiastic. Good morning, my friend. How do you feel about the hangover, and how is your wife? I say with a smile. Champion, I'm here for the job interview, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't remember the interview until my wife mentioned it to me, says Arthur nervously. I'll be honest with you, Arthur, I generally don't do this, and I usually let my employees take care of these things, but I like you, my friend, and I will make an exemption, I say with a smile. Thank you, champion, says Arthur. At first I thought you were cheating on me, but when I saw your pregnant wife, and I can't help but remember the difficulties you mentioned to me, I say with a serious tone of voice. I would never do that, champion, says Arthur. Saying that, I will entrust you with an opportunity and a way to advance to job prosperity, where you will be able to ascend your position according to your achievements, I say with a serious tone of voice. When probing him with legitimacy, I saw that he was thinking of, after so much time of difficulties, finally someone gives me a chance, and nothing less than my idol, I cannot disappoint him, thinks Arthur, and says with enthusiasm, champion, I will not disappoint you. I can have you in my team to supervise Muggle artifacts, and you will have to work hard. You will have a monthly salary of 600 galleons, where overtime and bonuses are not included, I say with a smile. When probing him with legilimency, I saw that he was thinking of, he said 600 galleons, oh Merlin, and this is my lucky day. Arthur, you should not miss this opportunity, thinks Arthur, and with we study he tells me, champion, do not worry, I will not disappoint you, and I will give what better of me at work. Well, if something happens and you need help, don't forget to ask me, because that's what friends are for, I say with a smile. I will try not to forget him, champion, says Arthur seriously. Now, putting that issue aside, how did you survive your angry wife? Because she wanted to kill us with her eyes last night, for having come home drunk, and it seemed that she was not very happy, I jokingly say with a smile. Ha ha ha, she usually does that, but there is no need to worry, because she is not angry, and rather she seemed very happy today, which left me surprised, says Arthur with a smile. To be continued in the next chapter. /n. Hello my reader friends. As always, I thank you for the support. Comment. 12 comments. Vote. Chapter 44, Chapter 44, A Charitable Cause. Chapter 44, A Charitable Cause. G equals galleons. S equals sickles. K equals nuts. the day after I gave Arthur Weasley a job. Hi folks, it's me, Max, your favorite fictional lead, and I'm currently at the Gringotts, doing a charity interview with 3 unexpected characters, Minerva McGonagall, Irma Pince, and Phileas Flitwick. Phileas, my little friend, how are you and did you receive my gift? I ask him with a smile. I'm fine, champion, and if I get your gift, I'm very grateful to you for that detail, he says with enthusiasm and a smile. I look at Minerva. She is a tall witch, with black hair and an emerald green robe. She stood there watching me. She had a very serious face, and from my experience, this witch would hold a grudge against you if you made her angry. I think she is currently a professor of magical transfiguration. I look at Irma. She is a tall witch, with black hair and a black robe. She looked very enthusiastic to see me. She also seemed like a short-tempered woman, given that she seemed overly protective of books and as such quite unpopular with students, but nonetheless, she looked very professional in her craft as a librarian. There is no need to thank me, my little friend Phileas. And who are these 2 ladies who accompany you? I ask her with a smile. Let's introduce you to the Transfiguration teacher, Minerva McGonagall, and our librarian Irma Pince, says Phileas with enthusiasm and a smile. Obviously, I was very happy. I'll be honest, I received them today because I wanted to see and confirm my suspicions about something. These 3 are not yet part of the Order of the Phoenix, or they were not yet trusted by Albus. It's an honor to meet 2 beautiful ladies, and what can I do for you? I ask him with a smile, obviously knowing why he was here, and it is that currently Hogwarts has no funds to finance classes or Muggleborns because of Albus. His mismanagement was frowned upon by the Wizengamot board, where Archirus Black strongly criticized him and was nearly suspended as direct. However, a new manager was appointed. Who is Phileas Flitwick as a manager of the Hogwarts funds. He is currently here seeking my support, and because I am the richest man in Britain. Now, you may be wondering, how was Dumbledore's mismanagement discovered? Simply your server Max pulled the strings behind the scenes, and by chance the information came to the hands of one of the Death Eaters, who was Lucius Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy, trying to win the favor of his Dark Lord Voldemort, generously offered it to him, and then Voldemort passed it on to a corrupt member of the Wizengamot. A brilliant plan, right? Champion, I come to you today humbly and requesting your help, as the Hogwarts budget was sorely misused. We do not have enough funds for Muggleborn, nor do we have funds for potion materials, and we also lack funds to supply food for the students this year. If things continue their course of action, we will not be able to teach this year at Hogwarts, Phileas says in a pitiful tone. Wow, it looks like my actions either burned Albus Dumbledore's funds quickly, or was it the war he's leading with Voldemort? Ha ha ha, whatever, it's my fault, and now the karma is coming back to me, trying to balance the fate of the world. I understand, Phileas. How much budget does Hogwarts need, and how many courses are they currently giving at Hogwarts? I ask him seriously. The budget is 346,777 G with 75,663 S and 11,001 K. Over the years many magical subjects have been banned, or there is no budget for them, and that is why I am here today, because I would like to relive the best years of Hogwarts, says Phileas seriously. I knew Phileas was the right man to ruin all of Albus's long work, and that old man still doesn't know what I have in store for him or my plans to ruin his life. I can finance Hogwarts with 3 conditions, I tell him seriously. The 3 of them stare at me in surprise, but immediately their faces turn serious and Phileas starts the conversation. What are your conditions, champion? Phileas asks cautiously. First, I want dueling to be a Hogwarts subject, I say seriously. The three of them see their faces being sane, and Minerva says, Lord Dovahkiin, we agree with your request, but with it the budget will increase more and we do not know whether to agree. Money cannot be compared with the future of our young magicians, and it is because towards the future, it is where we all do not go. The world will advance and our young magicians will be outdated by something as mundane as money. I prefer to invest the future of promising young people, than a useless and incompetent old wizard who would only keep holding me back, in my advance towards a better future, I say with an emotional and wise voice. Even I was surprised by my words. I saw an Irma copying my words into a notebook. Minerva looked surprised by my words and Phileas's eyes were red. I think he even shed some tears. Beautiful words, Lord Dovahkiin, says Irma excitedly. I believe that she is a loyal follower of my books and therefore an admirer of my work. I will give you Hogwarts, a budget for this year of 2,500,000 G, and I hope it is enough to lead Hogwarts to a high-quality education and the best in the world, I say seriously. Oh yeah, I'm going to screw old Albus at his base of operations and regulate him, with his directorial budget or privileges. An evil and ingenious plan, right? He. Hearing the number of galleons, let's just say the three of them were very excited about the idea and were very optimistic about the future of Hogwarts. What is your second condition, champion? Phileas says with excitement and joy. My second condition is that masteries of white rituals be a Hogwarts subject, I said with a smile on my face. You may not believe it, but there are already teachers in that magical branch and 70% are witches, because witches want to look beautiful throughout their lives. I saw that Minerva and Irma's eyes flickered with excitement and enthusiasm. Phileas, on the other hand, did not see any problem and I replied, we agree. Your third condition, champion. My third condition is, I want to observe the Hogwarts facilities and I want detailed expense reports, I say seriously. Stunned Minerva asks, to what end? I wish to observe if the castle needs an update, and it is because over the years, they have not made any modifications, I say seriously. Obviously I'm going to modify Hogwarts at my discretion and preference. It can be fixed, says Minerva, and then continues, why do you want detailed expense reports? Humans are greedy creatures by nature. It is seen brothers and relatives fight to death for a handful of gold or a magical artifact. It is something that is in the nature of every human. Sometimes the greed is greater than others and other times they are modest or honored. That is why I want to observe that my investment in the future of British magic and our young British magicians is used every galleon in its entirety in them and for them, I say seriously and with a tone of voice deep and wise. The three of them react in different ways. On the one hand, Minerva had an expensive reflection on my words and thought about what to say to me. Irma, on the other hand, was writing my words and analyzing them as if she was thinking of something. Finally, Phileas, who was excited that I wanted to invest in the magical future of the British and the young talents of magic. Minerva looks at me and says, Lord Dovahkiin, rumors about you do not do you justice, and why you are a charitable man, who cares for the good of thousands of magicians. With a smile I answer him in a deep and wise tone, I am only a man, who lives the best moment of his life. At this moment I am rich and famous, but in the future I may be a poor and infamous man. Since life spins like a roulette wheel and sometimes we have to play with what we got. You are certainly right, champion, says Phileas with excitement and enthusiasm. Great words of wisdom, says Irma, who kept writing in her notebook. I also hope that you continue to be the manager of this Phileas investment and that you can supervise the dueling classes, because only you understand my love for the sport, without offending the ladies, I say with a smile. Obviously I was going to give Phileas all the credit, and I'm not going to let Albus steal the glory from our little friend Phileas. No, we are not offended, Lord Dovahkiin, and it is honored that a dueling champion like you takes an interest in the young talents of magic, says Minerva, with a rare smile on her face, and it was obvious that she was in a good mood. Minerva, you have fallen short with your words, and why Lord Dovahkiin is not an ordinary dueling champion, says Phileas with a smile. Then what is he champion of? Minerva asks. Obviously she was not interested in the sport of dueling and remained ignorant of the novelty. Phileas with a smile responds, Minerva, Lord Dovahkiin is the world champion of duel, and that makes him the most lethal wizard in the world magic community. Minerva looks at me with wide eyes and says, wow, Lord Dovahkiin had no idea of your fame and prestige. I apologize if I offended you. Don't worry, it doesn't offend me, and let's sign the documents to transfer the money for this Hogwarts school year. All three respond simultaneously, yes/yes/yes. It will continue in the next chapter. /n. Thank you for the support you give to my story. If they see any error or word that is not agree, highlight the paragraph. Since I always have problems with /he/she/his/her. As you already know the English, it is not my main language. That's why the words sometimes don't match. I hope that despite my wrong grammar of English, keep supporting my story. Thanks. And happy start of Christmas. Comment. 33 comments. Vote. Chapter 45, Modifying Hogwarts. Chapter 45, Modifying Hogwarts. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in a meeting with Phileas, Minerva, Irma and Gornuk. As always, Grandpa Gornuk criticized me for my waste of money, and when I told him it was for a lemon cause, he immediately agreed. I think he will even talk about this matter to the Goblin King, and he will surely want to participate. /n, oh, a lemon cause. He. For the cause. Also, design Grandfather Gornuk to follow my investment in Hogwarts, and with a watchful eye, since money has no friends and I do not want old Albus to pocket it. Now I decided to fuck Albus's hard work. The Hogwarts books were scarce, the law books and books of labels or traditions of the magicians, they were even more scarce. Even the Hogwarts Castle rule book was missing and nobody had it. It was Albus' work. Now I have a chance to reformat everything and screw Albus in the process. Surely when you hear the news, and eagerly, you are going to want to get his lemon drops. Mwahahahaha. Oh, I'll send my service elves with a magic camera to retract and record the moment. Excuse me, Madam Pince. As you know, my wife studied at Hogwarts and they told me that the books of magical traditions in the library do not exist. Is it true? I ask her, acting casually and naturally. Lord Dovahkiin, the books have been disappearing from the library very frequently, and even the Hogwarts rule book is also missing, says Irma lamentably. Maybe I can help or donate with a couple of books, since my noble and ancestral Dovahkiin library has all the books that exist. Why, the motto of my noble house is wealth and knowledge, I say to her in a casual way. It is true, that is the motto of my noble house Dovahkiin, wealth, knowledge and power. Irma looks at me moved and says, oh, for Merlin, you would really do that for Hogwarts, and don't worry, I swear, I'll take care of those books as if they were my children. I can even share with you, Madam Pince, one of the enchantments of my noble house Dovahkiin, and this enchantment makes books appear in the library again, with a smile. Irma looks at me greedily, and it was obvious that she coveted that charm, and says, Lord Dovahkiin, You are the most charitable man I have ever met, and I will gladly accept your donation as the Hogwarts librarian. It will be an honor to donate knowledge to Hogwarts, I say with a smile on my face. The plan is working, it is now to act and carry it out, so that old Albus does not interfere or hinder my work. I will send it to the advice of the Wizengamot, so that they continue to scold it, and it will give me enough time to go to Hogwarts to fix it or modify it. I escorted them to the exit and I watched them leave in the fireplace in a flash of green. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. Next day. Today I am here, at the entrance to Hogwarts, with a team of 200 dwarfs, and it is not for nothing bad, but they are the best builders in the world. I immediately see the students, who see me as if it were the novelty of the day, and I can also see 5 people waiting for me. I walk towards them. My little friend Phileas, here I am as promised, and these gentlemen who are with me are professionals in the construction area, I say in a cordial way. I could also see several students who were excited. It was obvious that they recognized me, and it is because he had seen me win the World Championship of Duels. Phileas happily says, "Welcome to Hogwarts, champion, and let me introduce you to my colleagues. You already know Minerva and Irma. Here is Professor Horace Eugene Flaccus Sloane, he is the potions master and head of the Slytherin house. At his side is Professor Pomona Sprout, herbology teacher, head of the Hufflepuff house and head of the Hogwarts herbology department. Nice to meet you. I guess your Phileas and Madam McGonagall are the heads of the other 2 Hogwarts houses, right?" he asked with a smile. "It's true," Phileas says proudly. "So let's get to work, that every 50 dwarfs follow ahead of the house to make the notes and see how we can improve the castle. I will follow Madam Pince to the library," I say in a cordial way. "Sure, champion," says Phileas. No one complained, as he surely had his own ideas on this and wanted him to add his own modifications. We immediately went into action. Each house chief took 50 dwarfs and I followed an excited Send Pince to the library. Upon arriving at the Hogwarts library, I noticed that it was quite run down and quite old. There were also some students here and there in the library. I searched my pocket for 2 trunks and he enlarged them with nonverbal magic. "Madam Irma, could I tell the students to leave the library for a moment and for me to make the modifications? Also get behind me," I say with a smile. "Sure," says Irma excitedly. She runs off to tell the students not to leave, and yet they part also get behind Irma with curiosity. I take out my wand, as if I were playing a symphony. I apply my magic and soon all the books in the library begin to float in the air, heading towards the trunk on my left. Making another wave with my wand, I begin to transfigure the walls, shelves, chairs, tables, glass, and lamps. Little by little the library came to life. It looked impressive and magnificent, with elderwood shelves, ivory decorations and a beautiful white marble floor. Behind me, I noticed that Irma was crying, and I think it is because she was too emotional. With a subtle touch of my wand, a beautiful mosaic of the 4 founders of Hogwarts appeared on the ceiling, and with a delicacy or subtlety in detail that they would have to spend several days looking at the mosaic for them to realize. With touch with my wand, in subtle tap the trunk on my right and trunk on my left, soon the books of both trunks begin to float in the air. At that point I started sending thousands of spells and thousands of nonverbal incantations to the library and books. I will only say that the students were open-mouthed and dumbfounded with the magnificent display of the power of my spells and my enchantments. Soon I finished my modifications. "What do you think, Madam Pince?" I asked she with a smile. "It's magnificent and beautiful," says Irma, as she looked at all the modifications to the new bookshelves, walls, floor, tables and chairs. and immediately realized that the restricted area of the library was not in sight, and I ask. Excuse me, Lord Dovahkiin, but not I see the restricted area of the library, and so I must ask you, where is the restricted area? Irma asks me curiously. You know that, in the minds of the young magicians, if you tell them not to visit something and then they will want to visit that place more eagerly, I say with a smile and continue saying, so I put the restricted zone in part behind your office and where you can comfortably supervise it. I will also give you this library authority black book. It will tell you or record which student took the book, and if they are using it, in a 6-hour period of inactivity, the book will magically return to the library, I say with a smile. Lord Dovahkiin is incredible, how I achieve such a thing, and all this is magnificent. I can also see that the books are impeccable, says Irma amazed. Well, I put a waterproof, anti-corrosion, anti-dirt, anti-theft charm on it, among other spells. Also, when closing the library, the books have a self-protection and it will be activated with the command word, close library or open library, I say with a smile. Magnifico, says Irma with joy, like a girl in a candy store and where they will buy all the sweets that she wants to order. The bookshelves are neat. For example, this bookshelf is about black magic. It does not contain any spell, only reference and how to recognize black magic. To face it, I say with a smile. Oh, that's unusual, and why did you put that there? Irma tells me curiously. Because that is common knowledge, that an era or hit wizard must have, and it must also be common knowledge of wizards and witches, I say seriously. It's true, says Irma enthusiastically. It was obvious that she would read the entire section of the bookshelf. That beach bookshelf of grey magic, that of beach pink magic, that of beach of enchantments, magical laws, traditions, important magical dates, magical history, potions, transfiguration, duels, Quidditch, etc. In the restricted library are the most advanced in spells and knowledge, I say with a smile. Certainly, all this is impressive, says Irma excitedly. I also took the liberty of putting on your desk all the books that I have written so far, and I hope you enjoy them. Those books are autographed by me, I say with a smile. Oh, for Merlin and Morgana, that's amazing. I'll treasure them as my treasures, says an excited Irma. Soon the chief of the dwarfs arrived with excellent news. If these little friends work fast and are very effective. To be continued in the next chapter. /n, as always, thanks for the support. Comment. 22 comments. Vote. Chapter 46, Chapter 46, a successful younger brother and an unfortunate director. Chapter 46, a successful younger brother and an unfortunate director. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently at Hogwarts, putting my evil plan into action. Sorry, I correct. I am doing some charitable modifications and remodels. /n, my friend, control yourself. You are embarrassing me in front of the readers. Well, putting aside my little explanation, I currently have Hernan, the chief of the dwarfs, in front of me, and he is going to give me a summary of what is needed. Boss, it will currently take us 3 hours to build and install the Hogwarts barriers. Also boss, the place is in very bad condition and you need some modifications, says Hernan. Soon he performs a terrestrial magic, to make a model with earth and castle rock. Well, get down to work, and I want everything to be finished by today, I say. Without anyone noticing, I sent a lot of magic to the castle, and where I modified the castle barriers, disable the ones that were harmful to the students, I also put my own barriers. Another thing that I put in the castle is that the castle is autonomous and has its own intelligence. The castle also has free will to do whatever it wants. He. How did it happen? Your server Max did it. Everything is part of a plan. While I was distracted in my thoughts, a Hogwarts professor approached me and said, "Excuse me, champion, I know that Professor Filius introduced us, but allow me to introduce myself appropriately and how a nobleman should present himself," says the professor. He was somewhat old, a little chubby and blonde. With a smile I say, "Then allow me to present my distinguished name, as a nobleman should." "Go ahead," with a smile the teacher replies. "It is in front of Lord Dovahkiin, of the noble and ancestral house of the Dovahkiin. My distinguished and humble name is Maximilian Stephen Dovahkiin. I am currently the world dueling champion and it is presumed that I am the most lethal wizard in the world," I tell him with a smile and an elegant bow. Also note, this teacher was not alone, and it is because at a considerable distance, there were many students waiting and watching us. My distinguished and humble name is Horace Eugene Flaccus Slug. I am a potions master and the head of Slytherin House, here at Hogwarts, says Horace. "It's an honor to meet you," I say as I extend my hand. "The honor is all mine, Lord Dovahkiin," says Horace with a smile. "It seems that I use myself, for a demonstration of how a nobleman or a magician should properly present himself in magical society," I say with a smile. "I hope Lord Dovahkiin is not offended. I only teach my students what the world is like out there, and that, if they are not careful, you can offend someone by giving a bad impression or not having responded to greeting properly a noble. So, I took the liberty of introducing myself to you," says Horace with a smile on his face. This professor was quite interesting, and it is because he liked to introduce his students or establish a connection between his students. It seems that Harry did not know how to take advantage of this teacher in the movie, and I think it is due to his misunderstanding that all Slytherins are bad. "I think you are an interesting man, Professor, and I imagine that those guys from there want my autograph," I say with a smile. In that he is absolutely right. They are delighted and ecstatic to have the autograph of the world dueling champion. "Many want to be like you," says Horace with a smile. "Well, call them, to give them their autographs, and then I would like something to drink," I say with a smile and a laugh. "Thank you for this favor, champion," he says with a smile, and then turns to his students, saying, "Come on, the champion will sign his autographs." Immediately I was surrounded by a crowd of 40 to 50 students, of different ages, and I also saw that more students kept appearing. It will be a long day for me. Albus point of view. Council of the Wizengamot. How come I'm here at the Wizengamot, when that Dovahkiin boy is at Hogwarts and is doing charity, fixing or repairing the castle? Now how this old Lestrange fossil found out that he was embezzling Hogwarts funds, and I will read his mind tonight, also steal some funds for a good cause. Funds are running low. The Potters are being suppressed by neutral families, and he can't waste much money on the war. One wrong move and they'll lose everything. These are difficult times. Lemon candies are hard to come by, and currently, even lemons are hard to come by in the country, but I found out that my brother is selling them at his tavern, the Hog's Head. Now my younger brother is doing very well. He is even world famous and appears in the Witch's Heart magazine, and I even heard the rumor that he got engaged to a Greek witch. I must buy it. As I was thinking about my brother and the lemon drops, this old Lestrange fossil was yelling at me. "Albus, you are being warned. Another scandal like this and you will be fired from your position as direct, do you understand?" Lestrange says seriously, but if you noticed subtly, he's laughing at my misfortune. "All right, Lord Lestrange," I say with a grandfather smile on my face. "You can retreat, Albus." What a bastard, it just made me waste my time, and well, at least I can visit my little brother. Using I get to Hogsmeade and continue walking to the tavern, the Hog's Head. The tavern, the Pure Co's Head, was something else. My brother remodeled it into an extravagant and high-quality tavern. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Hog's Head. How can I help you? A young witch asks me with a smile on her face. Oh, I just wanted to buy some lemon drops, I tell her with a grandfather smile. Excuse me, but we have that service, if you buy our drink for the common good, and it was named after the favorite phrase of the older brother of the tavern owner, the young witch tells me with a smile on her face. I honestly don't know what's going on, but this is wrong, and since he came up with such a good idea, my good-for-nothing brother. I would like a drink for the common good. I would also like to meet my younger brother Aberforth, and if you could tell him that I am here, I would be very grateful, I say with a grandfather smile on my face. The young witch looks at me suspiciously for a moment, before calling a woman and whispering something to her ear. Using a little magic, I listen to her comment. Boss, that old man over there is looking for her fiancé and I don't know what to do, says the young witch. Okay, I'll take care of the old man and you go take care of the new clients, says the woman, who is allegedly the fiancé of my younger brother Aberforth. Okay boss, be careful with that old suspect, says the young witch. How can I be a suspect, if I have not done anything wrong and in which I am suspect? The woman who claims to be my brother's fiancée approaches me, dressed in red, black hair and amber eyes, tanned skin. Hello, I'm the owner of the Hog's Head Tavern, my name is Persephone Dumbledore, nee Raptis, and how can I help you? Persephone asks me with a look of vigilance on her face. Hello, my name is Albus Dumbledore, I am Aberforth's older brother and I was wondering if I could see him, I tell her with a grandfather smile on my face. I tried to probe her with legilimency, but he had an insolvable defense in his mind and Lucky I think did not notice. Okay, wait here, Persephone tells me. She leaves for a moment, but I can hear her conversation. My Sky, a man who claims to be your brother is asking for you and says he wants to see you, says Persephone to my brother. My honey is fine, surely he comes to ask me for money. I heard that he got into trouble and it is because of the embezzlement of Hogwarts funds, but he was lucky they did not find anything, or if he had not sent it directly to Azkaban, says Aberforth comforting his fiancée. My Sky, be careful to give him a lot of money, then he will want to come ask for more money and we have to save for our children, says Persephone worried about Aberforth. Okay my honey, don't worry so much about money, and also remember, I will soon open Hog's Head Tavern franchises in all wizarding countries, says Aberforth confidently. I'll be honest, I was eating away at anger and jealousy, like my good-for-nothing brother. They are successful. Soon a man emerged in a black Victorian business suit, with a neatly braided black beard. Black hair in a ponytail. Gold lenses with polished crystals. I'll be honest, I didn't recognize my younger brother and it was obvious that the woman was taking good care of him and even his wardrobe was quite good. Okay, I admit it, I'm starting to feel jealous for the success that my younger brother has and I hope it is a temporary or momentary success. Albus older brother, what can I do for you? And it is very rare that you come to visit me. Since you and I are not on the best terms since what happened with our sister, says Aberforth with seriousness and coldness. Yes, I know little brother, and the truth, I just came to buy some lemon candies, I tell him seriously, and I don't want to have an argument with him today. Oh, the lemon candies, you still have that habit of yours to eat lemon candies to calm your nerves. Ask for a drink for the common good and they will give you a bag of candies. Although it is difficult to get lemons in these days. Why are they hard to come by, little brother? I ask him seriously. Oh, you didn't find out right. That's the bad thing about focusing only on Great Britain, and it's because in the Muggle world, there is a contagious disease that can be cured with lemons, says Aberforth seriously. Wow, I didn't know. Is it very serious? I ask him seriously. See, that's why I told you it's not good to only focus on Britain, and why when something happens, you won't find out about anything, Aberforth tells me, as if he was lectured or scolded me. Well, I'll have your drink for the common good. And how did you meet that woman? I ask with a smile. Oh, I met my honey in the World Dueling Championship, while I was a referee and she was a participant in the championship. One thing led to another, where we united as a couple, and soon I will marry her, says Aberforth with a smile of happiness and joy. Honestly, I rejoice for my brother who left his bitterness behind and continued with his life, although I am jealous for his worldwide success. Where will the wedding be? I ask him with a smile. It will be in Greece in 1 month. If you have time you can go to the wedding, says Aberforth with a cheerful smile. I will try to make time, I say, although being honest I don't really want to go. I'm leaving you alone, big brother. I currently have an important meeting at the Gringotts with my shareholders, and I also have to do other important things. I hardly have time for anything lately, Aberforth tells me with a smile. Goodbye, little brother, I say with a smile. I saw my younger brother leave with his fiancée Persephone, and my smile faded, only bitterness remained. Since I myself distance my younger brother from me, and now I must live with that. Miss, a drink for the common good, I say with a grandfather smile. The young witch sees me and says right away. Soon she served me a drink, which smelled of lemon and liquor, but was bubbling in a strange way. Had to say, it looked appetizing and tasty, but when I told the price I was surprised. The young witch looks at me and says with a smile, they are 5G. I'll be honest, I thought at first that I misheard the price, but I immediately realized that this drink was very expensive and not everyone could afford it. The witch looked at me like a beggar who couldn't pay for the drink, so in one fell swoop I paid the 5G and gave her 1G of tip. Now who is the beggar, bitch? The young witch looks at me in surprise and says thanks for the patronage as she takes out a bag of lemon candies. I drank the drink in one fell swoop and immediately regretted it, because I got dizzy quickly and I didn't know how much liquor that drink has, but with wobbly steps I walked out of the tavern. Little by little I arrived at Hogwarts. As I walked my step became very difficult, and it was because I was drunk. I passed right next to the boxing willow and the screaming house. That it was newly planted and built to house a lycanthrope in my school, so that I could have another sheep in my ranks. As I passed I heard a smack, boom, slash, and I lost consciousness. To be continued in the next chapter. N//. Thanks for the support. Comment. 16 comments. Vote. Chapter 47. Chapter 47. A shocking and unfortunate event at Hogwarts. Chapter 47. A shocking and unfortunate event at Hogwarts. Hello friends, it's me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and currently here at the Club of the Eminences or Club Slug. It's an informal name for Horace Slughorn's favorite students, and I'm sitting enjoying some tea while chatting with Professor Horace. Did that really happen? I ask him. I saw it myself, with my own eyes, says Horace. Ha ha ha, then it's a good story, I say with a smile. I was surrounded by the students from the Slug Club and one asked me. A student champion, what did you feel when you won the championship the first time? I look him in the eye and then I look at the other students. With a smile I say it was a moment, sublime and magnificent. It was perfect. While I remembered the moment and continued saying, tired from using too much magic and can see my opponent defeated, suddenly I felt for a fleeting moment, the adrenaline runs through your veins. Then I felt a few seconds of silence, which is interrupted by the public and they shout my nickname in innovation. Tyrant. 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 At that moment, I felt an electric current throughout my body and as if driven by the ovation of the audience, I raise my arms in the air. I say with a smile on my face, I also saw that the students were very excited. Wow, one day I hope to feel that feeling, says the student. You will, my boy, one day your time will come, says Horace with a smile. Well, if you want I can give you some advice and that has served me throughout my life, I say with a smile. Yes, of course, champion, let me write it down so I don't forget it, says the excited student. My grandfather once told me, dear grandson, whatever you do in your life, do it as if it were the last thing did and live your life to the fullest, in every moment. If you do it that way, you will see that the world will smile at you, and when it discounts you, it will be a winner in life, I say with a smile. Big words, champion, and how are you doing here at the Slug Club, says Professor Horace. I'm having a great time, and if there is any time in the future, feel free to invite me to your Slug Club, I say with a smile. It was clearly what Horace wanted, and so did I. I wanted an excuse to visit Hogwarts. It will be an honor to have you here at the Slug Club, says Horace with a smile. We can also exchange letters and keep in touch, I say with a smile. That would be a privilege and I will gladly accept it, says Horace with a smile. Suddenly, a student walks through the door and interrupting the joyous moment of the meeting, and many looked at him with a murderous look on their faces, but the boy did not realize, because he was worried. He keeps running towards Horace and whispers something in the professor's ear. Curiously, he uses magic to hear the whisper. Professor, an emergency. The principal Dumbledore was injured by the boxing willow and is unconscious in the screaming house, as is my head of house. I am informing him, Professor, says the student. Oh shit, how did that happen? And someone has photographed it with a camera. I hope my service elves captured the moment. Bwah ha ha ha. Champion, there was an emergency and apparently Headmaster Dumbledore was injured by the boxing willow, says Professor Horace in a stunned and surprised way. Shouldn't we tell the Hogwarts nurse, Professor Horace? I ask him casually. You're right, champ, says Horace and turns around. He says to the same boy who brought him the news, go to Madame Pomfrey and tell her about this, my boy. Yes, teacher, says the student as he runs away. That boy will be a great journalist in the future, I commented to Professor Horace. Oh, you believe it, and I'll tell him when I get the chance, says Professor Horace. I think so, he has all the qualities of a great reporter, and I'm sure, because my wife is a reporter, I say with a smile. I understand, I'll tell him, he says with a smile, as we walk towards the screaming house. Upon reaching the place, I was dumbfounded, and that is why the old Albus was embedded in the wooden wall of the House of Screams. He was unconscious, decides to give him a hand, and perhaps in the future, he owes me a favor. I take my wand out of its holster, with a subtle and elegant movement, I levitate old Albus from the wooden wall, where it was embedded. Little by little I lay him down on the floor, I cast various spells to extract the wood chips, and he closed his wounds. I realized he was drunk. Internally I laughed. Mwah ha 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 ha, you wonder why I am laughing? Mwah ha ha ha, it's because of my plan. It went perfectly. Let's say that old Albus, every time he wants his lemon candies, must pass a test, and that is to drink a liquor drink, which was adulterated with lemons dipped in dragon tears, then passed through a fermentation in dragon blood, and finally, passed through a fermentation with various magical herbs of high liquor content. Obviously, with a drink from that glass, you will be so drunk that you will not know where you are, and the only way to drink it is in small sips. We jokingly call the drink for the common good, but for alcoholics. Mwah ha 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 ha. /n, I like that idea. Mwahaha. Now you wonder why I'm healed him. It's easy to answer, look what happened to him with a little drink and the future will be more fun, ha ha ha. It's all part of a plan, an evil plan, mwahaha. I me feel like Azan, when I send the shit to the whole soul society. Suddenly I hear a hysterical scream from a woman. What do you think you're doing? When I turned around, I put my wand away and said, excuse me madam, I was only giving you first aid and that's because he was in a critical situation, if he didn't heal him it could be worse. Are you Xavier's son? You are very similar to him. When was he your age and how did you find the patient, any diagnosis? The witch healer asks me. The patient is fine, I removed all the wood chips and closed his wounds, but he lost a lot of blood. Oh, like your father, you are a great healer, the witch healer tells me. Thank you, surely my father would be very proud of me, I say with a smile. Certainly, I would be very proud of you. And what is that liquor smell, is that you, young man? The witch healer, concerned about my health, asks me. I think the patient was drinking liquor. I deduce that he drank this getting drunk and then came walking in that drunken state, when he was surprised by a blow from the boxing willow. There I say, as if the whole process was going through for my mind, but inside from me, I was laughing out loud, mwahahaha. Oh how unfortunate Albus is, Horace says, but you can see that he was enjoying old Albus's misfortune. Without anyone noticing, I took the greater wand of death and replaced it with an exact imitation of the wand. Now let's see how the old Albus will do him, to keep up with Voldemort, mwahaha, it's all part of a plan, an evil plan, mwahaha. I can imagine his face when he realizes it. Oh, my wand is an imitation. Mwahaha. /n, friend behave, ha ha ha. I think you should shave your hair and beard, as there might be some wood splinters, I say in a subtle and concerned way to the witch healer. /n, that's a very good joke. You're right, I hadn't noticed that matter, says the witch healer. Obviously your servant Max only suggested it and I did not go, he left him hairless. Quickly the witch healer proceeds with her magic. Bam, a bald Albus appears. Little by little I saw how they were taking, to the wing of the Hogwarts hospital, a bald and unconscious Albus. I followed the students and teachers with the witch healer, towards the Hogwarts hospital wing. Soon Minerva and Phileas appeared. Minerva, surprised by Albus's health, asks what happened to him. Phileas also asks what happened to him. Professor Horace speaks up and says, looks like Albus drank until getting drunk and walked to Hogwarts, ran into Boxing Willow, where we boasts he was hit. We presume that he was beaten, obviously he was beaten, this unconscious, and now the witch healer made him hairless and he lost his elder wand. What else could happen to him? That Voldemort visit him. Oh, by Morgan, who came up with this idea. I must subtly suggest this to Voldemort as Mr. Business. /n, I came up with the idea. Minerva was sad for her colleague Albus and says, how unfortunate is Albus. And Poppy, how do you find him, does he recover? The witch healer Poppy comes out of the sick room and says he's resting, but he's intoxicated with liquor and I think he drank this getting drunk. Only Merlin knows what concerns Albus had, that he led Albus to drink so much. It will take about 8 days to 10 days to recover. Professor Horace, Minerva, we must continue with the students' dinner, and since it is almost dinner time. You are right, Horace and Lord Dovahkiin, may I invite you to dinner in the Great Hall at Hogwarts? Says Minerva. I will gladly accept, Madam McGonagall, I reply with a smile. I followed the teachers and students into the Great Hall at Hogwarts, where many students were eagerly awaiting their dinner. Minerva stands up and says Headmaster Albus is unwell at the moment, as such it's my turn, as Vice Headmistress of Hogwarts, and to announce, let's proceed with dinner tonight. Saying that, immediately lots of greasy food appears on the table and total neglect of a nutritious diet. Excuse me, Madam McGonagall, but is this the students' food daily and they eat this daily? Don't you have a magical nutritious diet? I ask him with a curious smile. Professor Horace asks me curiously, what are you talking about, Lord Dovahkiin? It seems that the students eat what you serve them, but the food with so much fat and little nutritious, atrophies the magical talent of the young magicians. Minerva is the most concerned about the young wizards and asks, is that true, Lord Dovahkiin? Of course, that is true, and, moreover, it is being implemented in America, France and Africa, resulting in the increase in the power of talented youth. I say seriously. Really, this nutritious food thing was happening in several countries and surely Albus knew it, that is why it surely increased fatty or sweet food in young wizards. Professor Horace, as a good teacher that he was, asks and says, if this is true, then we have been killing the talent of our young magicians for years and we did not know. We must start now. Do you have any idea how to start, Lord Dovahkiin? Sure, I'll take care of it, I say with a smile, and with magic I say Piram. Soon as she young elf in a maid's Victorian dress appears and says with a bow, what can I do for you, master? Piram, take care of everyone's food and in the process teach the house elves at Hogwarts a nutritious diet for the entire school year. Do it, I say casually. I will not disappoint you, master, says Piram with a reverence and disappears, but immediately all the meals on the tables in the great dining room begin to change to an appetizing and nutritious magical meal. Wow, was that a house elf? Asks Professor Horace. That's right, she is my house elf and thus trained as a maid, cook and among other magical areas, I replied with a smile and in a proud way. Amazing, says Horace. I certainly agree with Horace, he's amazing, says Minerva. Here is a magical nutrition book. By following this standard guide and you will see the results in a month. This is a very common knowledge in other countries, I say in a disappointed way. Certainly, we are quite disappointed by this, and don't worry, Lord Dovahkiin, and I will take care of this nutritious diet myself, says Minerva in a professional way. To be continued in the next chapter. This chapter was sponsored by me, the author. And was directed to my readers. Ha ha ha. /n. Thanks for the support and I hope you enjoyed the chapter. I'll be honest, I had fun writing this chapter. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for the support. Comment. 28 comments. Vote. Chapter 48, Chapter 48, Hearing the Chorus of Frogs and Laughing Till Cry. Chapter 48, Hearing the Chorus of Frogs and Laughing Till Cry. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently at Hogwarts, where my little friend Phileas wanted me to listen to his frog chorus with his students. Paran parararan. Tururururaran. Tararan tarantaran. Between beautiful tunes, I listened to the Hogwarts Frog Choir and certainly had to admit that Professor Phileas had his flair for music. Why don't you audition and present the Hogwarts Frog Choir at the World Dueling Championship? I say with a smile. I'm sure it would be a very good idea and I'd have a way to introduce the music to the magicians. Maybe I'll do it again. A global trend. You believe it, champion, and you don't think it would be too much? I don't want to suffocate my students, says Phileas in an excited and concerned way. Tell me, Phileas, for what purpose does the music teach them? if not it can shine in its abilities and highlight them on a stage, where the entire magical world can see it, I say with a smile. But you don't think it would be too much? Phileas asks me worriedly. I think it would be an opportunity and an unforgettable experience, that they will remember throughout their lives, I say with a smile. I think you are right, says Phileas. Of course I have it. What's the use of practicing so much, if you don't have a stage where you can show their talent and their constant work in their practice? I tell him with a smile on my face. You guys, what do you think? Do you want to go and appear in the World Dueling Championship? Phileas asks his students. Yes, Professor, we want to try, says a student. Yes, teacher, we want to try, says a student. As you can see, Phileas, they are excited to try it, and as a good teacher you cannot disappoint your students, I tell Phileas with a smile. You are right, champion, but we will have to practice harder and thus show that we are the best, says Phileas excitedly. I'm sure you will make it, my friend Phileas, I tell him with a smile. I think it's time for me to retire and leave Hogwarts to come back another day, I say with a smile. Let me accompany you, champion, says Phileas, as he accompanies me to the entrance of Hogwarts, and upon arrival, I saw the dwarfs waiting for me. Boss, everything was done as established in the mock-up, says Hernan, the chief of the dwarfs. Perfect, I say with a smile and continue saying it's time to go. I extend my hand and use my spell. A black circle soon opens, where on the other side was the Gringotts. I turned around and saw the students shocked, and even saw the teachers shocked, by my unique spell. With a smile, I bowed gracefully and said it is an honor and a privilege to have visited Hogwarts. I hope to return in the future if circumstances permit. For all the students who look up to me, I give you a advice: studying adequately is the way to success and personal improvement, because without the knowledge there is no triumph. Study hard, my talented young wizards and witches. At the end of my little speech, I retreat to the portal, and upon entering the portal it closes in a striking way, leaving the young wizards open-mouthed, and it was quite clear, he had left a great impression on the young wizards. That day would be remembered as the day when the most incredible dueling world champion of all time visited Hogwarts and stayed for a whole day at the Hogwarts facility. He even transfigured the Hogwarts Dragon Library with his own magic and was named by the students who were present, in honor of world champion dueling, Maximilian Dovahkian. Horace Sloane's POV. I watched the champion go, with incredible magic, and it was so incredible that my co-workers were shocked. I can only imagine all the hard work he had to do, to create his own spell and be able to wield it with such grace. I realized that the young champion was a hard-working magician. Not for nothing was he the world dueling champion and considered the most lethal man in the world. That is something, that is not one only with talent, also there, that to practice hard every day. I saw that the students who were chatting, some kept their photos and autographs with suspicion and care. Certainly, I also have a photo of the champion, when he was in the Club of the Eminences, and I will put it in the best place on my wall of memories. It will be a good topic of conversation for my future students. Well, it's time for all of you to go back to your dorms and the prefects from him houses to escort the students to his dorms, I say out loud to be heard. I wonder if next year I could ask the champion to visit the Club of the Eminences and spend some time with my students. Max's point of view. In an office at the Gringotts. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently at the Gringotts, in an office with several goblins, which are, the Old Gornuk, the Goblin King Ragnarok and the Goblin Council members. Everyone in the room had a purpose for being here, and that was to see how Albus got hit by the boxing willow. Soon a house elf service appeared, and handed me the videotape of the matter. We quickly saw Albus being scolded. plus it was a scolding in 1,000 different ways by old Lestrange, and old Albus just stood there, clenching his teeth and fists at the insults he received. Little by little he finished his scolding. On leaving the Wizengamot he went straight to Hogsmeade, his brother's tavern, the Hog's Head, and where he was greeted by a magnificent view. Instead of a low-class and run-down place, he found a high-quality tavern. A young witch received him, apparently the young witch, seeing his tunic and way of dressing so out of place, went to call her boss. That this case was Persephone Raptis, who, for strange reasons of fate, became engaged to Aberforth, and both are said to be twin souls. Because they fell in love and will currently be married in a few months in Greece, where I was invited to the wedding, because I am a shareholder in Aberforth. A good thing about my intervention in the timeline, and I hope that more good things continue to appear. Returning to the matter, Albus could not recognize his younger brother Aberforth, and it was because Persephone took his role as fiancée very seriously. That she changed all the clothes, fix Aberforth's hair and beard, and even change his dirty glasses for a polished one and golden. Certainly, I was happy about this change from Aberforth, and secretly, I will send a photo of his Mackie over to the magazine The Witch's Heart. He. Albus spoke various things with his brother. Soon his brother Aberforth retired and he left with her fiancé. Albus called the young witch and asked for the drink for the common good, but of alcoholics. When he was paying for the drink, he was surprised by its price, and before asking, he saw the face of the young witch, who was looking at him as if he were a poor beggar. The look of the young witch surely annoyed Albus, because he immediately paid for the drink and even left a tip. Now came the fun part. It seemed that he was upset, and in his irritated, he drank all the drink for the common good, but of alcoholics. We immediately burst out laughing at how comical Albus was walking, and it was very funny to watch. We soon observed that as he changed from sober to drunk in a matter of seconds, he had to say that this drink was high in liquor and very lethal for a non-drinker like Albus. Soon he changed the scene and got very close to the screaming house. Soon we saw the most comical and shocking scene. Imagine this: you are walking when suddenly, you are hit against a wooden wall, and it happened as if Albus were a fly. The boxing willow is a gigantic fly swatter. You can already imagine the scene in your mind. Ha 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 ha. Young tyrant, you must give us a copy of this, says the Goblin King. Young tyrant, I'll give you 1,000,000 galleons for a copy of this, says an old goblin council. Ha ha ha, okay, then I'll give you a copy for 1,000,000 galleons, and don't forget to pay me when you get out of here, I tell them with a smile. Shit. Damn swindler, but this material is priceless, we must buy it and save it to laugh at old Albus, says the Goblin King. Shit, he cheated us money with this, says another member of the Goblin Council. Soon the goblins left the room, leaving only the old goblin Gornuk and me. With a smile I tell the old Gornuk, these guys, they are so excited by Albus's misery, they willingly offered me 1,000,000 a head and didn't waver on the price, I tell the old goblin. Ho ho ho, young tyrant, you ripped off the council members and they were happy to pay the amount. Well, I won't pay you anything, I'm just a poor old goblin, who's about to retire, old Gornuk tells me with a smile. Ha ha ha, I did not ask for money, they are the ones who offered it to me willingly, and as a good businessman, how can I refuse money? It knocks on my door, I said, laughing to old Gornuk. The old Gornuk watches me for a moment and laughs out loud. He immediately tells me, ha ha ha, you're right, those dupes offered you the money and it would be rude not to take the money. As your financial advisor, I will make sure you get paid and will collect my fees for my good service. Ha ha ha, what an ambitious old banker, ha ha ha, I say, laughing. By the way, Tomorrow the newspaper The Prophet will be very informative, and perhaps our favorite journalist Rita will be named in the magical story, because she will be covering more than 7 stories, the old goblin tells me. Ha ha, what can I say? My wife Rita is a successful woman and I am glad that her dream is coming true, I tell old Gornuk. I'm glad you're happy, but I have bad news for you from Russia and Transylvania. Apparently the vampires have agreed to repress your business, says old Gornuk in a serious tone. What did you say? I say with a serious tone, and the room soon changed from cheerful to cold in seconds. The next chapter will continue. As always, I thank you for the support received. Comment. 18 comments. Vote. Chapter 49, Chapter 49, Bad News and an Untold Story. Chapter 49, Bad News and an Untold Story. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in an office at the Gringotts, receiving bad news. How did that happen? I ask him in a serious tone. If there was something that bothered me, it was the fact that they interrupted my fun, and I don't know if it was because of my dragon tray, but it made me moody and irritated. The old goblin knew about the change in my temperament and why the room turned cold, but he quickly tells me, young tyrant, they are those vampires who are coveting your fortune and your business. Last night they attacked 2 shipments of magic herbs and took him away. The administrator of that area wanted to negotiate an agreement through money, but they rejected it. How much galleons did we lose in merchandise? He asked in a serious tone. The old Gornuk with a sigh tells me 347 million G in magic herbs. With those magic herbs we thought out making various potions, and we were going to take the market with other potions of the Dovaki in chain. But among those herbs was him main ingredient of the werewolf annihilating potion. I want you to bring me paper and a pencil, then I want you to ask me for a travel permit to Transylvania and Russia. I think I'm going to hunt vampires, I say with a grumpy tone. The old goblin knew that I would kill that community of vampires. It was because my temperament was violent when the need required it, and it would not be good for the most lethal man in the world to make a move, because it would be a one-sided slaughter. But there were people who did not know the immensity of the skies, or did not know that there are people who should not be provoked, but the fate of the vampires is already cast in the great fortune wheel of destiny. His name is Max the Tyrant Dragon. Well, I'll have all the procedures ready for you within 4 hours. Get me 1 or 2 extra permits, I say, as I close my eyes. Okay, says old Gornuk as he leaves the room. When left alone in the room, I focused on my magical wedding ring, which is an artifact that I create myself for my wives and myself. That he had the purpose of communicating no matter where we are, and also if something happened, he could teleport me to where my wives were. Bellatrix, you want to hunt vampires? I ask her. Of course, I am, and I'm already packing my bags, my husband, says Bellatrix. It was obvious that he wanted to go and kill a couple of vampires. So far there were things that Bellatrix had in common with his counterpart from the movie. That was, she enjoyed killing people, torturing them, and a new one, having sex with me. Do any of my other wives want to go hunt vampires? I ask with a smile. No honey, we are with Grandma Perinelle. She is teaching us a magical stew and we plan to cook it for you, Andromeda replies. How long will it take? Asks Narcissa. From 4 to 5 days maximum, I reply. Okay, you can go and give the sisters time to rest. Also be prepared, because when you come back, we have to give a couple of grandchildren to Grandma Perinelle, says Narcissa. Obviously she blamed me for her sleepless nights and everything now was my fault. It is difficult to understand women. Even with the library the path to magic is difficult, but it is something I enjoy and it is why it makes me feel alive. Well then, I say goodbye my beloved wives, I tell them. Take care, darling, and come back soon, says Andromeda. We love you and come back soon, my husband, says Rita. Come back soon to have our children and take care of yourself in your vampire hunt, says Narcissa. Be very careful, husband, Russia is deep and evil territory, says Tatiana. Don't worry, it will be a piece of cake and I'll be back quickly, I tell them with a smile. Soon when I finished communicating with my wives, I closed my eyes and meditated, waiting for Bellatrix, also the documents. Tatiana's point of view. Hello, my name is Tatiana Alyanovna Dovakina Romanova and I was born in Russia on the 5th of July 1952, from a marriage between a witch and a muggle. My mother wanted to have a child, but she didn't want any magical nobleman to take her child from her and bewitched a muggle with a love potion, where we were born twins. My mother killed our father, fulfilling her purpose to get her pregnant, and she began to raise us. We soon turned 7 years old. But sadly, my sister was a squib and my mother didn't like that, so she gave her up for adoption in an orphanage. Soon my days turned grey, because I realized that my mother was a heartless witch, and little by little, she began to train me in the magical arts, but as time passed, I turned 13 years old. Where my mother had decided me to marry a pig and was unwilling to accept this union, I told her what I thought, so we discussed that day. Soon I did not hear from my mother for a while, until I found out that the pig I was trying to marry killed her and raped her. I thought it was a good thing. Soon, I was able to visit the orphanage where my sister was and we talked, but the world did not want that be happy, because a few days later my sister was adopted. Try to find out who it was and I found it was a ghost family. I feared the worst for my sister. Since while researching I discovered terrible things and was soon captured by the pig that killed my mother. Apparently I wanted to sacrifice myself in black ritual when I was 15 years old and I needed my purity intact. As if it were something magical, the prince of my world arrived and broke into the place, killing every living being in the building. He rescued me and 100 other women. A young man, I figured he was 17 and had a cold look in his eyes, but he was beautiful to me. I soon found out that his name was Maximilian Dovakina and he was hired by the Russian ministry to find the 100 women who were captured and kidnapped. Maximilian was a young man, with 3 faces, one for his enemies, another that he used daily, and the last one was his face. It was the one he showed to friends and family. Maximilian was a vain man, proud and did not trust anyone. He always wore a gold or jewelry garment and found it to be a dragon family trait. I soon followed her, until the 1969 Russian World Dueling Championships, and yes, he may think I was a stalker, but you can't blame me for wanting to know more about the man I fell in love with. He was like a drug that I needed, and the more I knew the more I fell in love with him. But Maximilian, he had such great ambitions that he never turned to see me, and seeing him in tournament, crush each of his opponents. I realized that Maximilian was someone very tyrant and with a self-sufficient personality, who did not like to depend on others. I found that trait of him adorable. Maximilian was driving me her crazy with love. He was too adorable, cute and silly. Not wanting he to see me as a weak witch, I started training like crazy, and little by little, the next tournament came, where with effort I classified among the 16 best, but I cannot have a duel with Maximum. Frustrated, I tried to sneak into his naked room, where he just looked at me with interest for a moment and then threw me a sheet with telekinesis, where he told me that he wasn't interested in any woman until his family's family tradition ended. I happily talked to him all night long and time seemed to stop, but when we realized it was morning, He left and I found out that he had to travel the world training for 3 years. To pass the time, got a hobby. He spends his time capturing criminals or studying magical history. Soon another year passed. I went to the World Duel Championship to see it, and where it was time, I was able to have a duel with my maximum. But I was relentlessly defeated. I felt sad, and since I wanted to show him that I was witch powerful, strangely enough, he sneaks into my room to cheer me up. I immediately tried to seduce him and steal his first kiss, although I did not know much about the subject of kisses from experience, but my mother had many books on kisses. It was nice to see him embarrassed by my kiss and escaping from the room. Yes, Maximilian looked tough on the outside and with great character, but if you could melt that crust out of him, then he was cute and adorable. I soon found out that my Max's family was murdered and massacred, but he was forbidden to return until his test and tradition ended. In frustration, my Max began hunting criminals left and right. No criminal was safe from his wrath. I cautiously tracked him down hotel and I found him drunk, where I comforted my Max throughout the night. I didn't do anything grown up, I just hugged him, and it was good for Max, because he happily gave me a kiss. I was very happy that he took the initiative to kiss me, then he ran away ashamed of me again, and it was very funny to watch. Cute and adorable, but funny to watch. Soon another year passed. I did not see my Max again and I did not hear from him in months, but I knew that I would see him again at the World Dueling Championship in France. I soon battled multiple people in endless rounds and qualified in the top 16, where I knew my Max had a guaranteed place as champion. Soon I bribed a goblin, who told me where my dear Max was, and with a smile, I went to see him, but my Max had matured. He looked more mature and happier. For a moment I panicked. Why did I discover that my Max married a witch? But I quickly discovered that it was 4 witches, and I noticed that it could be the 5th, since Max did not stop my advances in seducing him. Soon 2 women passed into the room, his wife Andromeda and Narcissa. Now you will wonder my surprise, when they looked at me as if I were a friend or comrade. Soon they kidnapped me and asked me many questions, where one of his wives named Rita proposed to seduce him, so that he would accept me as one of his wives. Now you wonder, why these 4 women looked at me as if I were a friend or a comrade. Well, it turns out that my Max is a dragon in bed and is insatiable. She hardly gives the girls rest, because he wants to have sex every night. This trait of him impressed me because it was surely a trait of his family. Soon the girls wanted to show me how insatiable my Max was, and they went to his private box, where they did a lot of mischief, but only woke up the sleeping dragon. I watched as my Max took out all his lust on his wives, and I honestly wanted to join in, but wanted my first night with him. He was mine and only mine, because I didn't want to share it with anyone that night. When I came to France, I had brought all my belongings, and why I knew would go with him. Living with my Max is like living with a dormant volcano. Wherever you do stimulate it, you will have an eroding volcano of passion, and Max is a passionate, caring and loving man. I am lucky to have met him and my sisters. We fight every night with him, in a sexual way, sometimes loving, sometimes wild, sometimes passionate, sometimes mischievous. My sisters and I have planned with Grandma Perinelle to have her children. I'm sure Max will be a good father and an overprotective father. This is the story of how Tatiana met our MC. Thanks for the support. Comment. 15 comments. Vote. Chapter 50, The Vampire Hunter Worries and Coming to Transylvania. Chapter 50, The Vampire Hunter Worries and Coming to Transylvania. Alistair L. Dalker's point of view. Hello, my name is Alistair Aldalker. I am currently 58 years old. I am a dueling master and vampire hunter. I was born in Transylvania. I have a beautiful daughter, who is currently the Minister of Magic of Transylvania, and her name is Adelida Dalker. I hope she will soon give me 1 or 2 grandchildren. After my defeat, with the old Eleuterio in the World Duel Championship, and with more determination I continued training, because I hope one day to be crowned world champion. As a vampire hunter I have had a long career and I am very infamous in the vampire community. I am currently hearing news that vampires stole a shipment of herbs. The magical ministry of Transylvania is in chaos, because they robbed the most lethal man in the world, and one thing I hear from Maximilian is that he has no mercy with his enemies. I hope that madman stays in his country and does not come to Transylvania. I swear I will kill the vampire who had the idea to steal Maximilian from him. Soon, the door of my office opens and it is my daughter Adelida. By her face my worst fears and thoughts come true. Maximilian Dovakian is in Transylvania and the father Chaos has arrived. /N, oh yeah bitches, Maximilian is in the house. Sorry, I correct. Oh, Maximilian went to Transylvania, what a novelty. He. Father, you must help us. Maximilian is coming to Transylvania in 2 hours and we don't know what to do. We hear from his manager that he is very angry because he lost more than 400 million G, says my daughter Adelida. For that many galleons, I would also be angry, and it is because money is not easy to earn. Every galleon that I have earned is earned with hard work. How would I react if 400 million galleons were stolen from me? Obviously I would come in a rage to look for the thief, and it would not be very nice to see, because it would be a massacre. What can I do for you, daughter? The man known as Maximilian is not a merciful man and is very brutal with his enemies. Me being you, I give him permission to do what he came to do here in Transylvania. I say seriously to my daughter. But the members of the council want him to leave, and it is because they want to solve this on their own, says my daughter Adelida. She is innocent like her mother. I must open her eyes like his father and see the cruel world as it is. Dear daughter, sit down to tell yourself something, I say to my daughter Adelida. Sure, father, says my daughter Adelida. Daughter, you know why they call Maximilian Max the Dragon Tyrant, I tell my daughter. No father, I have only heard rumors, says Adelida. 2 years ago or so, Max the Tyrant Dragon was active and hunt criminal after criminal. He did not mind offending anyone. If he was a corrupt minister or a member of the corrupt council, it did not matter, because he found the evidence of his corruption and released it to the public. Tell me, daughter, how would you deal with such a man? I say with a smile to my adorable and beautiful daughter Adelida. Father, I don't know, says Adelida, surprised. It is obvious that some members of the council were bought by the vampires, and now the vampires are scared, because a man is approaching who does not come to talk. I say to my daughter seriously. But father, what do I do, and I have only been a minister for 6 months, my worried daughter tells me. They gave her the position because they wanted to have a way to communicate with me and to solve their shit for them. Now the shit they did is so big that they can only call me through my daughter, and it's because he doesn't have the face to look me in the eye. Whoever said that a father's worries end when his children grow up was obviously a lucky guy or didn't know what he was talking about. With a sigh I tell my daughter, when the champion arrives, I will help you receive him, but promise me that you will not go crazy forbidding him anything, and only if you promise me that, I will help you. It's okay father, I promise, I will be cautious, says my daughter. Soon we went to the Transylvania Magic Ministry. The place was already packed with several old scoundrels, and already, it was giving me the creeps, watching so many hypocrites together in one place. Soon I felt the change of cold, icy and erratic environment. Max the tyrant dragon had arrived. The fireplace started to flicker green and soon turned bright red. That was a strange phenomenon, but it also felt like he was angry. You can see that my daughter was scared. As a good father that I am, I protected her with my magic and soon surrounded her with. I looked around and could see the council members. I was scared and petrified with fear. Soon from the flames a man appeared, dressed in a white Victorian suit, with extravagant gold trim and a black bearskin coat. One remarkable thing is that he carries a medieval sword with a golden dragon pommel, and it was obvious that he wears light armor underneath his suit. I saw that he was looking at the place with his eyes. When my eyes and his met, I felt the illusion of a dragon's anger and as if an illusory force, which I couldn't help myself. For an instant or moment, I was able to dazzle the illusion of an immense dragon, which devoured me in one bite and worked me. It was a very terrifying feeling. As I looked around, I saw some council members shitting themselves, and if I hadn't been scared, I would have laughed at their misfortune. I know this was done on purpose by the champion, and I know this illusion casts them with magic. Suddenly, I saw that the champion stretched out his hand to the fireplace. Soon the fireplace flickered and appeared a beautiful woman, hair color black, eye color brown and skin color pale. She was very beautiful. I had heard rumors that champion had married, but I did not invite anyone to the ceremony and it was in private. Another thing that was rumored is that he had a harem. Max's point of view. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and currently you thought that it would not appear in this chapter. Truth. Well, dear readers, I, your server Max, have returned recharged and supercharged. I am the Matrix, the Revolution. Ha ha ha. /n, my friend, control yourself, you are embarrassing me in front of the readers. N/MC, what do you want me to tell them? I'm happy to be back on stage and they understand me. It is obvious that they read my story, because I am his favorite fictional protagonist and all readers love me. /n, friend, control your vanity or I will make you pass work, for several chapters. I am in control of your life. If I want you to be happy, you will be happy, and if I want you to be miserable, you will be miserable. You understood? So shut up and focus on your role as the main character. N/MC, okay, author, you are the winner and I am the loser. /n, it's good that we're clear on that. Let's get on with the story. As you were saying, I am currently back and I have just arrived in Transylvania. As I always say, a good entry is worth 1,000 words. With a bit of scenography and a bit of illusion magic here and there. Bam, members of the Transylvanian magical ministry scared and terrified of fear. I even saw one who urinated and defecated on his pants. It was a disgusting scene. I will cross that scene out of my mind later with our clemency, and I will put it in the part of my memory to never remember again. Soon showed up Bellatrix, with a smile on her face, and it was obvious that she was very happy, because she would soon go crazy killing vampires. Suddenly, I watched Bellatrix's face twist or frown in a rather adorable way. I think it's because of the smell. The smell was all over the room, and you can't blame me for scaring these worthless old men. Holding Bellatrix's hand, I walked over to Alistair Aldalca, and he's a good duelist, even though he lost miserably to Eleuterio. Lord Alistair Aldalca, how are you doing, and could you tell me who the Minister of Magic is? I say with a serious and angry tone of voice. Observe a woman of about 28 to 30 years behind Alistair. By its similarity in the hair and eyes of Alistair, I deduce that it is his daughter. Champion, welcome. I know you must be very angry about the robbery issue and I ask for your understanding. I will work together with you to resolve the issue, says Alistair, trying not to get angry anymore. Alistair, I have known you for 4 years, I have even fought once, and for being you, me calm down a little, but I say in a serious and icy way, continuing my words, where I released my magic aura in the area. If I do not hear answers for tomorrow at noon, I will take matters into my own hands and eradicate this vampiric plague, which dares to steal from me. I understand, champion, do not worry, I will give you a satisfactory answer. I understand, I say, as I look around a corner. There was a well-dressed man in a black Victorian suit, and as if he were a businessman, I had the feeling that I knew him from somewhere. I said, Sebastian Lewis Shaw, the manager of my business in Transylvania. You are absolutely right, my Lord Dovahkiin, and I am Sebastian Lewis Shaw. I have been working for your family for over 8 years, says Sebastian with a bow. Well, guide me to Dovahkiin Castle, I tell him seriously. Understood, my Lord Dovahkiin, says Sebastian with a bow. There was something about this Sebastian that did not fit me. Soon I boarded a carriage, with 6 Pegasus, and shot off towards Dovahkiin Castle. With a bit of concentration I closed one of my eyes and used my spell, along with my search spell. You can see a vampire woman surrounded by my herbs. Apparently he was looking for something specific and couldn't find it. Decide to play and have fun making fun of the woman. I close my other eye, using telepathy. This idea, I took it from Professor X, and if he could do it, then why can't I have a magical version? Soon I connect with the mind of the woman, decides to play a joke and scare her so that he knows that he should not mess with my things. Woman, what are you looking for and why did you steal my things? It is better that you give me a clear explanation, or if you do not, prepare yourself because I will kill you, I tell the woman directly in her mind. Whoever dares threaten Carmilla Sanguina, says the woman named Carmilla. I think I have heard the name somewhere. You're not very smart, are you? I ask her with curiosity and a tone of voice to make fun of her. Do you dare to make fun of me? Says the woman, looking for me in the place. A little further, no, 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 more to the left, yes there, no, no, and a little more to the right, I tell him, as I see that he is looking for me, following my instructions, and it was like seeing a cat following a red light in the floor. It was pretty funny. Ha ha, you're very stupid, right? Mwahahaha, I say in a good mood. Stop making fun of me and appears, coward, says the angry woman. Ha 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 ha, silly Carmilla, silly Carmilla, silly Carmilla, and who can't find me? I'm just behind that door. Yes, that door, I say to the vampire woman. Now I understand why Professor X always spent all day in the brain, and it was quite obvious that he spent his time making fun of people. The woman enters through the door and realizes that the room was empty. Ha ha ha, this girl is confused and she still doesn't realize that I am speaking telepathically to her. Ha ha ha. To be continued in the next chapter. Chapter 51, Chapter 51, Sanguina Carmilla and Good News for the Dark Lord. Chapter 51, Sanguina Carmilla and Good News for the Dark Lord. Hello friends. It's me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I'm currently here in Transylvania, finding clues as to who stole me and where the magical herb merchandise was. I found a vampire woman, who was wearing a beautiful red Victorian dress, and she was checking the herbs, me as a good wizard that I am. With a touch of humor and fun, I played a little prank on her, ha ha ha. However, my prank turned into quite amusing entertainment for me, and because the vampire woman was quite dumb, she didn't seem very smart. After having fun and insulting her here and there, I decided to have a serious talk with her. The woman was on the ground tired, or pretended to be tired, because I don't think a vampire gets tired. I sure hoped that by pretending to be tired, I would go out and she might attack me, typical vampire reasoning or intelligent magical beast. However, I had other plans and I told the woman in a serious tone. Woman, why don't you tell me why you stole my things and maybe I'll let you live, to make fun of you again another time, I say with a smile on my face. You dare, I will kill you when I have the opportunity and I will bathe in your blood, I will drink every drop of your blood, says Carmilla angrily and irritated. It was honestly fun to see the expressions on her face. Ha ha ha. You can try, but I will kill you immediately and you will not know how you died. I am currently a few thousand kilometers away, I say with a smile on my face and giving him a clue. Lies. You are probably hiding somewhere and you think you can beat me, Carmilla Sanguina, says Carmilla with a proud tone. I honestly thought you were an intelligent woman, but it seems that you have been drinking the blood of some troll and it affected you to a high degree of stupidity, since you are unable to reason or think, I say with a smile on my face. He, but I made fun of her with my words. Sanguina Carmilla. I suddenly remembered that in the chocolate frog cards and there was the story of Sanguina Carmilla, she was a crazy vampire woman. That she is famous, why she bathes in the blood of her victims, and she stupidly believed that blood was the way to eternal life or eternal youth. At the moment that I was distracted in my thoughts, the Carmilla woman finally realized that I was not in the room and with surprise said something. Oh my Lilith. You are talking to me telepathically, and how is it possible? No one has been able to do that from so far away. Ting ting, 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 ting. Your answer is correct and we have her winner. How do you feel about answering correctly? I say in a mocking tone. Wizard, stop making fun of me and tell me what you want, says Carmilla with an irritated and angry tone of voice. Ha ha, who would think that the great Carmilla Sanguina is a stupid and silly vampire, ha ha ha. Talk, what do you want? Says Carmilla in an annoyed tone of voice. You shouldn't be so angry and I want you to answer me, because you stole my things, I say in a serious tone of voice. These herbs are yours, ha ha ha, then I will burn these herbs, for making fun of me, ha ha ha. It seems that you are not intelligent, then I will tell you why I think that you are a stupid woman, and it is because you have not realized it. That I only focus on you, I will know where you are, what you do and where you are going. With all this information, I could send you thousands of bounty hunters who are dying to catch you and skin you alive. Her, now I doesn't think you're a stupid woman, I tell her with a smile on my face. However, I feel a disturbance in my body and I realize that Bellatrix is being mischievous. I can only quickly end my conversation with the vampire woman and punish my naughty wife. The vampire woman, hearing my words, for a moment I saw that she became paler and more restless. Yet she pulled herself together and asked, "What do you want so that you shut up and leave me alone?" says Carmilla. "Tell me what you were looking for and why did you attack my business?" I tell him seriously. "I'm looking for the blood gem, which they told me would be transported with your goods, and that's why attack his business," says Carmilla. "Who told you?" I tell him seriously. "I don't know its name, just that him wanted something that was transported with the herbs and it was something very special, because him didn't want to mention the name of the object," says Carmilla. "It seems that you are not being sincere, Carmilla. We will have this talk later in person and it will not be pretty for you, because I will torture you in such a painful way that you wish you were dead," I tell her in a ruthless and cold way. She knew more information, but she is not telling it to me. Clearly, she does not know me, and it is because I never got involved with vampires, to this day. But I swear, I will leave these vampires with a terrifying impression and awful demonstration, which will be so great I know that they will tell their descendants or their vampire clans for generations. Sometimes the best way for no one to mess with you is to slaughter a couple of people, and it sounds cruel, but that's the stark truth of life. If you are dangerous, then your enemies think twice before messing with you and your things. That is the reality of the wizarding world, and that is how the world works in general. The woman laughs out loud and says, "Ha ha ha, then I'll be waiting for you, ha ha ha." Obviously, this woman vampire hadn't heard from me, but she would soon meet me, and it won't be nice for her, now because of my experience as a bounty hunter. I feel like this will be a trap for me, or someone is intentionally messing with me, and I honestly just hope that the person is prepared for the event that is coming. Interrupting my connection with the vampire woman, to realize that I was lying in the carriage seat, and even I looked at my unbuttoned shirt, a Bellatrix was being naughty and doing wrong things. I honestly knew that she was turned on from the moment I showed her my superiority to the Transylvanian Ministry of Magic. I realize that she is working on polishing Max Jr., and I was already excited for all the stimulation that Bellatrix was giving me. I realized that it would take about 50 minutes to reach our destination, and with a smile on my face, I put in the task of satisfying my wife's sexual needs. 50 minutes later. /n, shit author, you cut the good stuff again. Wait a minute, I'm the author, ha ha ha, what a good 50-minute cut. Obviously, people don't want to read about sex and just want to read the plot. Ha ha ha. Arriving at Dovahkiin Castle, I felt as if the author had taken a fun part from me and that I'm sure everyone wanted to read. But taking away the feeling, I continue with my life and get out of the carriage, and look around me. /n, oh my dear friend Max, you must be imagining things, and I, the author, I swear that I have not taken anything from you. Everything is in your mind, he he he. Dovahkiin Castle is a Victorian Gothic castle. It turns out that one of my ancestors was a half-Gothic madman and believed himself to be a vampire. That's why him bought the property, decorating it with a typical atmosphere of a haunted castle. The entire castle was black, situated or located on a cliff at the top of a mountain and surrounded by a barrier of thick fog, which lasted all year. Even its location was kept hidden by the Fidelius enchantment, and its surroundings are also very well hidden, surrounded by dangerous magical beasts. Besides, it has illusory defense that can only be crossed by wizards and not by Muggle. I can only say that my ancestor was very paranoid about security. I turn around to observe my wife Bellatrix, enchanted by the structure of the castle, and honestly, I'm sure she wanted to tour it or explore the entire castle. When I see her excited, I say, "What do you think, my wife?" "This place is great, I love this castle," Bellatrix tells me with emotion. "Sebastian, I want a list of all the merchandise we lost and the names of the workers who died in their noble labor of work." "I understand, my lord." Dovahkiin saying that, Sebastian leaves in the carriage toward the company located in the populated area of Transylvania. Watching Sebastian leave, I can't help but notice that this Sebastian guy is out of place, and it's like a strange feeling. The same thing happens to me with Jack and Tatiana. I feel that something is changed in the world, but I don't know what it is, and I am afraid that this situation will ruin my quiet life. However, I will confront him when the time comes. And one more thing, since I arrived in Transylvania, I have noticed that they are watching me, but I cannot locate who him is. Now I just hope to continue and resolve this conflict to go home to my wives and have a couple of children. What do you think of that man named Sebastian? I ask Bellatrix. I knew you would notice, my love, and nothing can escape the sight of my man, says Bellatrix in my ear and while hugging me from the back. What a naughty wife. It seems that I have to make time to examine and evaluate my employees, I say in a serious way, as I walked towards the castle and carried Bellatrix on my back, sharing a special moment. Believe it or not, Bellatrix was the first woman I had sex with, and my first kiss was taken by Tatiana. Those 5 women have filled my life with sweetness and unforgettable moments. Upon entering the castle, I made my way to the first sofa that I could look at and soon began to satisfy my naughty wife's sexual desires. Voldemort's point of view. I was having a bad day today, because yesterday Albus Dumbledore killed many of my henchmen and I am losing the play, but soon more and more followers are joining my cause. Soon I could see my new follower, Lucius Malfoy, and who was in love with me, the strangest thing that has happened to me so far. But with a little legilimency here and there, I got a good following. I am currently awaiting news from old Lestrange, who told me that he would help me repress Albus in politics. I was also waiting for news of the businessman I was finding out, and he belongs to a sinister union, which has been operating in the shadows of the world for many years. The more I find out about him, I realize that Mr. Business must have a good position in the criminal syndicate, and it is because he has a multimillion-dollar company that operates worldwide. Back to the point, I observe Lucius approaching me, with a black card in his hand, and that is Mr. Business's letter. My lord, I have received a letter from your ally, Lucius tells me. I have not spread the word about Mr. Business much, and it is because I know that he pays a lot of money so that people forget his name. I soon opened the letter and started reading the content. Greeting, dark comrade. Business is going well and I was able to raise a considerable amount for the cause. Currently I have excellent news that will surely brighten your day. It turns out, Albus Dumbledore was found drunk and unconscious in Hogwarts Castle. I am happy to tell you, according to my spies. He'll wake up in 10 days, you can even infiltrate the castle and pay him a visit, he. I do not know how they him punished in the Wizengamot, which led Albus to drink so much, and what, if I could find out, is that Albus was hit by the boxing willow on the way, which, by irony of life, Albus himself commanded to plant the boxing willow. The Crime Syndicate of Darkness is very happy with your progress, and we hope that when you are ruled over Britain, you can join as a council member. Says goodbye to you, Mr. Business. Ha 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 ha. With a great laugh, I laugh at this news, and with this news, I can slaughter the most skilled members of the Order of the Phoenix. By the time old Albus wakes up, sadly he won't find any good henchmen, and everything is getting better for me. Lucius, discover everything that happened at Hogwarts today, I tell Lucius with a smile on my face, and I felt that I was getting better, that old Lestrange did a good job suppressing Albus. I'll give him a reward later and possibly give old man Lestrange another order. To be continued in the next chapter. Thanks for the support. If you see an error, point me the text.